Draft League content is back, and this makes me very happy. Not because it's draft, but because we're back in the Pokemon Premier League. If you guys have been around the channel for a long time, you guys will know that the PPL was one of the first big boy leagues that I had ever been a part of. It had so many amazing coaches back in the day, and there are amazing coaches that came back right now. We're joined by a great lineup of coaches, so make sure you subscribe to everyone. Their links are going to be down in the description below. We're joined by people like Addison, Gravy, Q the Costa Rican, JV, Ellie, PokeMMD, MV, and so many more. The Terra rule for this league is that any Pokemon below 10 points can Terra, and you have a budget of 25 points to make Terra Captains. Each Terra Captain gets 3 types. This league is including all of the Pokemon that were introduced with Pokemon Home, so I had some amazing ideas with what I wanted. My main goals were to build around either Enamorous Incarnate, SNEASLER, or Ursaluna. I had the 6th pick overall in the draft, and when my turn came around, I was actually able to choose between SNEASLER and Ursaluna. After looking at some things, I decided that SNEASLER was a bit more my type. This is due to its ability to U-turn, sweep with Unburden, and great offensive pressure with its dual stab in close combat and Dire Claw or Gunk Shot. One of the best pairings with SNEASLER in my opinion is having a great dark type. I was thinking about either Hoopa Unbound or Hydreigon as a pairing. Unfortunately, due to some snipes and me waiting a little too long, I ended up pairing SNEASLER with Zorark. This idea I've used multiple times before, but the idea is pairing Zorark with a fighting type to bait out psychic type Pokemon, click a powerful knockoff, and chip down the best wall to SNEASLER. Not to mention, a double U-turn core that opponents never know which Pokemon you have in will be a great mind game. Hazards are extremely important in the Draft League format this generation, so I had to make sure I got one of the best spinners in Iron Treads. Its speed, bulk, and ability to click Volt Switch mean that it gives me another pivoting aspect to get in my SNEASLER. This also gives me access to a win con with Iron Defense Body Press, Booster Energy, and another knockoff user. With having 2 Pokemon weak to ground type attacks and a Zorark that would get blown over by a weak magnitude, I wanted to get a good wall core that didn't care about ground type attacks, starting with Enamorous Therian. Even though I couldn't get the incarnate form, Enamorous Therian has a lot to offer. Since it is a flying type, it is immune to Earthquake. It has a crazy high special attack stat at 135, very good bulk at 74 HP, 110 defense, and 100 SPDEF, and it has access to a phenomenal move pool. With access to Agility, Calm Mind, Iron Defense, and Healing Wish, it has some great utility and setup potential, and with Moonblast, Earth Power, Mystical Fire, Focus Blast on the special side, Play Rough, Superpower, Iron Head, and Zen Headbutt on the physical side, it is very versatile offensively. The second part of the wall core that I wanted was Mesprit. I wanted a good pivoting psychic that can set up Stealth Rocks, have setup potential, and be a good sponge to allow my offensive parts of the team to come in easily. This is also my second Stealth Rocker, which is extremely important. The third part of the wall core I wanted is all reliable, Vaporeon. With access to Wish, strong water type attacks like Surf, Ice Beam, Roar, and now Calm Mind, this Pokemon can do much more than be a fat healer. It can be an even bigger threat than it was before. I also wanted to include a good utility Pokemon that will give me more hazard support. I decided to go with Toedscruel. Toedscruel gives me access to Spikes, Toxic Spikes, a second Rapid Spinner, a third knockoff user, and a Spore user. Even with its ability Mycelium Might, forcing all of its status moves to go last, it still is very reliable at getting up hazards and being a nuisance to my opponents. The team is looking very bulky right now, so let's add some offense. The first offensive Pokemon I took very early is a Pokemon that I knew could sweep very easily, especially with Terra typing. That Pokemon is Dreadnought. The PPL banned the majority of setup Pokemon with Terras except for Dreadnought for some reason. Having access to Shell Smash, Liquidation, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Strong Jaw boosted Ice Fang, this Pokemon can sweep very easy and I'm extremely excited to use it. I decided to make this my first Terra Captain with Terra Water, Grass, and Bug. Water to have a stronger Liquidation, Grass to have a way of breaking waters, and Bug to have a way of resisting Earthquakes if I'm in front of something like a Lando T without being weak to U-turn. Next, we have one of my favorite button clickers of all time, Straptor. Straptor offers a lot to this team, but primarily baits in fat steals and grounds and weakens them for SNEASLER to either take advantage of them or clean in the late game. Straptor with Reckless, Brave Bird, and Double Edge does so much damage that it is exactly what this team needs for an offensive pickup. My final 3 picks were primarily trying to fill out roles that I felt as though I was missing. The first thing I wanted was a way to spread status, pivot around, and potentially nuke something if needed. This means that I had to go with Rotom Heat. I've used Rotom Heat in the past, and this thing is so good at pivoting because grounds typically don't want to come in on a potential Will-O-Wisp or an Overheat and take a massive chunk of damage. This also gives me a great way of threatening bulkier waters and bulkier grasses, both of which are difficult for Dreadnought to break. My final 2 picks are both lower tier mons, but I still think they play a very large role in this team. First, we have Weirdeer. Weirdeer doubles up on my Psychic typing, but it gives me a great normal type Pokemon to help me out with offensive ghosts. It also gives me Frisk for more information, Intimidate to make offensive threats less scary, good setup in Calm Mind, Trick, and Thunder Wave. This is also going to be another one of my Terra captains. I decided to go with Terra Normal, Terra Fairy, and some other Terra type that hasn't been determined at the time of making this video. The last Pokemon gives me so many things to this team, so bear with me in my excitement. The final pick is Thwaki. I know. It's a Thwaki. What all could it offer me? Well, sit down, little Timmy, and take notes. This Pokemon gives me Grassy Terrain, meaning that Earthquake spam isn't as strong against me if I decide to go with a team that doesn't have Enamorus or Mesprit on it. Grassy Terrain also means that I can use Grassy Seed and Burden for SNEASLER and not have to always click Close Combat White Herb to get in Burden sweeps going. Thwaki also gives me a great grass type that can pivot and baits in other grasses for Straptor and SNEASLER to come in and scare away. With Grassy Terrain, it means that my Terra Grass with Dreadnought and able to Shell Smash is able to break through waters even easier. The final thing that Thwaki offers me is a 4th knockoff user. Thwaki will be my final Terra captain, being Terra Grass, Steel, and Water. This is the team I'm going to be using for this season. Let me know what you guys think down below and leave nickname suggestions. I'd love to have a team of nicknames after you guys. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for the week 1 battle going up next week, and I will see you guys next time.